everyone, so this is my review of Will, Season 1, Episode 4, called Brave New World. And essentially what this episode is about is that Marlowe introduces Will to a bunch of really sort of elites in London. And this whole meeting and stuff that they go to kind of goes a bit macabre. And Will has to deal with the consequences of what happens there. And Alice starts to sort of disillusion herself from Will. And Will really struggles to try and hold on to all like the different things that he holds really dear. And this was a really great and entertaining episode that did such a good job like on its own as an independent episode, as well as somewhat filling in for the rest of the story. And with how this episode went and stuff, I'm so curious and so excited to see where the rest of the season is going to progress with all the different sort of major things that happened in this episode. And again, I'm so happy that they did have like all these sort of like allusions to some of the plays that Will write in the future, with a few more things sort of alluding to Romeo and Juliet, as well as some things alluding to Hamlet. And sort of having in this episode the start of him writing like the Henry V play, I believe it is. And like all that stuff of him like sort of working more and more on these plays, as well as having some events in his own life that sort of lead to those. Just all those moments I really, really enjoy. And all the moments between Will and Alice were a little annoying in this episode, with them sort of bickering back and forth between each other. But again, it's also kind of understandable, because again, Will is married and has a wife and children and all this stuff. And Alice is supposed to be finding a husband and all this stuff, but they just can't seem to separate from each other. So all that's very interesting to see, but again, it was kind of annoying with how much they bickered in this episode. And I did find it very interesting to see how Will sort of developed and grew as a person with like all this new oncoming fame, and how for most of this episode that sort of overtook him. And having all this appreciation and praise, he sort of got to his head. And that whole dealing sort of came out there where with all this fame, is Will still going to be able to keep some of these new friends that he made in London, when he's also getting introduced to all these people that are way higher up than them and can make him even more famous and better off. So is he going to be able to keep all this fame and keep his friends that he holds dear? Just seeing like all that sort of start up in this, I really enjoyed seeing. Then the whole party scene was so great, with all the different characters dealing with being in this environment that they're not necessarily comfortable with. And then Will and Marlowe going to like this back sort of room thing going on in this party, where they are introduced to a bunch of different sort of hallucinogenic drugs that cause them to see things and stuff like that. And in that, Will sort of having like these sort of connections to Hamlet, where he's seeing ghosts from his past, and they're sort of like they're representing his sort of straying off the path of his faith, and him dealing with all these ghosts and dealing with all these problems that are suddenly thrust upon him when he's not fully in his right mind, was so interesting to see. And then the parallel, or sort of against that, with Marlowe, where he wants to see stuff and he wants to see inspiration and all this stuff, and he's gotten nothing, was great to see him still struggling with that writer's block, and him going to any sort of length to try and stop it and write his next great play, and doing all this stuff was so interesting to see with Marlowe. And I'm curious to see what he's going to do in the next episode that might help him gain ideas or gain something, because of how this episode ended for him. And the ending was so amazing, with Topcliffe showing up and asking Will to write this anti-Catholic play, and Will sort of struggling with that and what he's supposed to do. And just, I love how this episode ended with Will not really confirming or denying, but like seeing him have that face and have that reaction of struggle of, does he keep his faith a secret and write this play or do something to sort of please Topcliffe? Or is he going to say no and sort of stick with the ideas of his faith and going and continuing to respect that faith? I'm so curious to see where that's going to go there, and what Will's going to do to try and continue to survive. And just overall, this was such a great and really entertaining episode. And like I keep saying throughout this whole review, I'm so excited to see what they're going to do next with all the different events that were brought up in this episode. So yeah, that's my review of Will, Season 1, Episode 4, called Brave New World. So yeah,